Student Scholars in association with Goa Headmasters Association.
Hello students, I hope that you all are fine at home. And I know that you all are busy with your online studies. And yet, this is another method of keeping yourself busy learning from home. I'm really glad to be with you all today after a long time. And today, I'm going to teach you the lesson, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. This lesson is an extract from Nelson Mandela's autobiography, A Long Walk to Freedom. So before we come to the lesson, the reading part of the lesson, let me ask you some questions. But oh, you are not there with me face to face, so I can't. Okay, let me tell you something about South Africa. Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa in the year 1994. And for about 3 centuries, about 300 years, there was a white supremacy rule. The white-skinned people ruled the country. And in the year 1948, they erected a system called apartheid, or apartheid as the Africans pronounce it. So they erected a system called apartheid, and in 1948, they erected a system called apartheid or apartheid as the South Africans pronounce it. Now what is apartheid? Apartheid was a system of racial segregation that existed in South Africa from 1948 until early 1990s. So apartheid system segregated the people. You know, they divided the people on the basis of the color of their skin. And so, according to this system, there were 2 races in South Africa, the white and the black. And the white treated themselves supreme. They ruled the black. The black were their slaves. And they were not allowed to live like humans. You know, this system was one of the harshest and the most inhuman societies the world had ever seen. Students, I'll show you some pictures that will really speak to you all. During apartheid, the people, the white-skinned people in South Africa were very, very badly treated. They were humiliated. You know, they were tortured. They were dominated. And they were not allowed to demand any right. You can see the pictures here, the way they are treating them. And you know, the South African patriots struggled for freedom. There was a brutal struggle and unimaginable sacrifice. And finally, in the year 1994, the free and democratic elections were held in South Africa. And Nelson Mandela's African National Congress Party won 252 seats out of 400, and they formed the government in this country. This was in the history of South Africa for the first time. And now we come to the lesson. This takes us to the lesson. Well, students, I hope that you all are having the textbooks, a pen and a notebook with you all, so that whenever you find something important, you find some important words, difficult words, you should note them down in your books. Okay? Let me read the lesson. The first paragraph goes like this. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by the dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respect before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of the international leaders on the South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. 10th May was a red letter day in the history of South Africa. What do you understand by red letter day? It was a very important day in the history of the country. Why? Because it was the day when the installation of the black government took place. 10th May. And where was the ceremony held? It was held in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. So students, the ceremony took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater. And the amphitheater was in the Union buildings of Pretoria. You know what is amphitheater? Amphitheater is an open air theater without a roof. And it was made up of sandstone. If I tell you the two historical buildings that are made up of sandstone are the Rashtrapati Bhavan and the Red Fort. So the ceremony took place in Pretoria, and Pretoria is one of the three capitals of South Africa. South Africa has three capitals, and Pretoria is one of them. So the ceremony took place here, and for the first time in the history of South Africa, it was a rainbow gathering. Rainbow, you know what is rainbow? It has different colors. So for the ceremony, the people, the white, the black, and the other colors were present for the ceremony. And so Nelson Mandela calls it a rainbow gathering. Okay? And this was a seat, Pretoria, the Union building. It was a seat of the white supremacy for decades, for about 3 decades, 30 to 35 years. And now, the seat has been occupied by the black. Okay, students, now this is the content part of the lesson. It's not enough that in language you learn the content. In language, as we are reading, as we are learning, vocabulary is very important. Whenever you come across some new words, difficult words, jot them down in your notebooks. Write their meanings. In this way, you can build up your own dictionary, If you want to become a good speaker, you should have a good vocabulary with you. So, as and when you learn a language, don't only pay attention to the content part. No doubt, content is important. It's a knowledge. And it's very important from the examination point of view. But vocabulary is equally important. So students, don't forget to write down the new words that you're getting, that you're finding in this particular paragraph. So, if we look at the content, we have seen that there was an installation ceremony of South Africa's first black government, which was a democratic and non-racial government. The elections were held for the first time in South Africa. And that's how the black people could win these elections. Okay, now let's come on to the next paragraph. The picture that is being shown to you over there is a picture of the Union buildings in Pretoria. Students, I hope you all are in track with me. You all are reading the text. Let's go ahead. Okay, fine. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zinani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was the first sworn in as a second deputy president. Then, Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the deputy president And when it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. So it was a lovely ceremony, and Nelson Mandela was accompanied by her beautiful daughter, Zenani. You can see the picture over there, his daughter, Zenani. And on the podium, on the stage, the first sworn-in second Deputy President was Mr. de Klerk. And then the second sworn-in was the first Deputy President, and that was Thabo Mbeki. And then Nelson Mandela, for the first time in the history of South Africa, speaking or addressing to the nation. In his oath, what did he pledge to his people? He pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote himself to the well-being of his republic and its people. What is Constitution? I hope you know what is Constitution. Constitution is a set of rules that has been framed by every country, and the country works according to these rules. So Nelson Mandela pledged to obey, to respect the Constitution. He is not going to go against it. He is going to respect it, and he is going to work fully for the well-being, for the upliftment, for the development of his republic and his people. Okay, students, so this is what he pledged in his oath. And then to the assembled guest and the watching world, he said, today all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to the newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. We, who were the outlaws not so long ago, have today been given the rare privilege to be the host to the nation of the world on our own soil. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. We, who were outlaws not so long ago, have today been given a rare privilege to be the host to the nation of the world on our own soil. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. Okay, so Nelson Mandela begins his address to the gathering. There was a huge gathering for the installation ceremony. You know, the international distinguished guests from about 140 countries had participated in this ceremony for the first time in the history of South Africa. Such a huge gathering was there. So, to the present gathering, he said that he first mentions the extraordinary human disaster. Out of this extraordinary human disaster, the society is born. It's a newborn liberty, he says. Now, what is this extraordinary human disaster that he mentions here? As I told you earlier, during the apartheid rule, the black-skinned people were humiliated. They were tortured. They were denied their rights. You know, even the public facilities like schools, transport, medical facilities were differently set up for them. And during this harsh system, there was an extraordinary human disaster, human loss of lives. That is what he means by when he says extraordinary human disaster. And out of this extraordinary human disaster is a newborn liberty. Liberty means freedom. The liberty is newborn in South Africa, born for the first time in the history of South Africa. So, And this country were outlaws for a long time. You know what is outlaws? You know, many nations had broken their relations with this country because of the apartheid, because of the inhuman society that was existing in South Africa. But now, they have come in large number to show their respect, to show their loyalty to this newly formed, fair and true government. Nelson Mandela thanks all of them in his speech because they were present in large number. So this is what we learn in the paragraph that we read just now. Well, students, as we learn, as we read, we should learn to pick up the important, the key sentences in what we read. That's a very important part. As we read, as we do the silent reading, we should try to pick up the important key points from the lesson. Okay, now let's move on to the next paragraph. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, sufferings, gender, and other discrimination. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. So this was his speech. This was the end of his speech. What did he promise to his people in his address? You know, South Africa was under continuous bondage of deprivation, poverty, and discrimination and all. And Nelson Mandela promised to them to free them, to liberate them from the bondage, from the ties of poverty, deprivation. They were deprived of their rights. They were not allowed to live like humans. That is called deprivation. There was a lot of suffering, loss of lives, and the gender and other discriminations. People were separated, segregated based on the gender, based on the color of their skin, etc. So this was the system going on in South Africa for about 48 years. So Nelson Mandela pledged to free his people from this bondage. And then he says that never and never and never again shall this land or the people of this land will be oppressed by someone, and that never again the sun shall set on such a glorious human achievement. Long live Africa. So that was the end of his speech. So in this paragraph we learn that what he pledged to his people in his address. But students, that is not enough, as I told you earlier. Content is important, but something in grammar also we can learn as we are learning the language. We can see some words here like discrimination, deprivation, we can see poverty. What are these words called? If you know the parts of speech, you can tell me. What are these words called in grammar? They are the nouns. And how are they formed? You know, they are formed from the verbs or from the adjectives. Like for example, poverty. Poverty is a noun that is formed by taking the word poor, which is an adjective. Then deprivation, deprive is a verb, it's an action. And we have framed the word deprivation, which is a noun form of it. So also discrimination, discriminate is a verb, and the noun form of it is discrimination. And this process of forming the nouns from the verbs, from the adjectives, you know what it is called in grammar? It's called nominalization. And I know you have this exercise for you all this year. And not only that, this type of words, if you know to frame from the verbs and the adjectives, you will be able to write good articles. It will help you a lot. So remember students, from everything that you read, you have to try to pick up some things which will help you to build your language strong. Okay? So This was Nelson Mandela's speech. So in his speech, he promised the people. In his oath, he also pledges something to his people. Okay? So let's move on to the next paragraph. And here, it's the end of his speech. Now, the remaining is the part that what he has mentioned in his autobiography. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, the troop carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only the display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of military's loyalty to the democracy, to the new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South Africa Defence Force and police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before, they would have not saluted me, but arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a smoke trails on the black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. The ceremony ended with a beautiful, impressive display of jets, the fighter jets of South Africa, the helicopters, the troop carriers. There was not only the perfect display, but it was a demonstration of their love, their loyalty, their respect to this government. What type of government was this? It was a free government. It was a government that will respect everyone, that will give equal rights to everyone. So they wanted to show their respect. The same military generals, you know, the highest military generals, arrested him some years back. When? During the period of apartheid. When the people were struggling, when they were brutally fighting, at that time, these military generals arrested him. And the same military officers are saluting him now. You must have understood the difference. And Nelson Mandela was touched by their gesture. You know, the military force came flying in the jets. The military force came flying in the jets, Impala jets of South Africa. There was a chevron of Impala jets, and these jets left a trail of smoke with different colors, and it symbolized the national flag of South Africa. Students, I hope you all are understanding what I'm teaching you all. I hope you all are enjoying the class. If I'm fast, I'll go a little slow, but I don't know what is my pace. I hope students, you all are understanding me. Okay, so with that in mind, I'll go further. So students, you must be seeing lots of words written at the right-hand side of your text. They are the words which are important. Actually, they are the words which you are learning for the first time, maybe. So jot them down. Try to use them in your sentences. Learn pronunciations, very important, the intonation, the stress. When you're speaking, maybe in a public speaking or you're reading, punctuation is very important. If you want to convey the correct meaning, if you want to reach up to the listeners, punctuate your speech. Pronunciation is very important. Now, I said "oh." Some of you must be wondering, is it not "ave"? No, it's "oh." Now, how do you learn pronunciations? It's only by drilling yourself, from listening to others. Okay, spectacular array, an impressive display. The impressive display of what? Of the jets, of the helicopters, of the troops. Okay, and what were they signifying? Their respect to the government. Okay, and Nelson Mandela doesn't forget to mention about the military force that saluted him on the day of the inauguration. And then, let us go on to the next paragraph. Well, students, Nelson Mandela mentions in his autobiography that the day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of the white singing Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika and the black singing Die Stem. the old anthem of the Republic, although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised. They would soon know the words by heart. So you can see in the picture the national anthem, the way they sing the national anthem. We also have our own national anthem, right? And how do we present it? The same way you can see how the South Africans are presenting their national anthem. And on that day, 2 national anthems were sung. 2. One was sung by the whites and the other was sung by the black. Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika. This is a beautiful national anthem of South Africa that was sung by the white-skinned people. Now, why were these 2 national anthems sung? Because Nelson Mandela's government was equal to all. In order to prove that equality, in order to give respect to both the races, 2 national anthems were sung. Okay, students, have you understood? Okay, so the black sang Dar es Salaam and the white sang Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika. Let's move on to the next paragraph. I hope students you all are interact with me. If you don't have textbooks, I have a screen here for you. Some 1 or 2 words may be missing somewhere, but most of the things are there on the screen for you. On the day of inauguration, I was overwhelmed with the sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War, and before my own birth, the white-skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest and the most inhuman societies the world had ever known. Now, in the last decade and of the 20th century and my own 8th decade as a man, that system has been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognizes the rights and freedom of all people regardless of the color of their skin. So students, have you understood this paragraph? By now you must be knowing lots of things about South Africa. So history of South Africa, what do you understand by the history? History is all the white supremacy rule. I told you, it was 3 centuries rule of white-skinned people, you know. They ruled the country, and for about 48 years, they ruled the black, the dark-skinned people. So Nelson Mandela on this auspicious day is filled with emotions. He is overwhelmed by the sense of history. And how was the government in the first decade of the 20th century? You know what is decade? Decade is a period of 10 years. So, in the first decade of the 20th century, and can you tell me how is this 20th century starts? It starts like from 19 onwards, 1901, 1902. So, what is the first decade is till 1910. What type of system was there in the first decade? It was the harshest and the most inhuman society. And it was replaced by Nelson Mandela's government. The system was completely overturned and replaced by the government that would respect everyone equally, irrespective of the color of their skin or any other discrimination. So this is how Nelson Mandela mentions in his autobiography the first decade and the last decade. And you know, last decade means 2090 onwards. And Nelson Mandela himself was 80 years, maybe in that 8th decade. And you know when he became the president? At the age of 75. He became the president at the age of 75. He overturned the system and replaced the system with a democratic and non-racial government. Have you understood, students? You are having any difficult words here which you are unable to understand? I don't think. Harshest, you know what is harshest, no? Harshest means it's a superlative degree. You must be knowing the degrees, no? Harshest. The system that was very cruel. You know, Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for about 30 years. And when he was in the prison, you know, he was mercilessly beaten. He was mercilessly beaten. So just realize how harsh was the system. That's why it is said one of the harshest system. I hope you understand what one of the harshest means. There are more systems which are harsh, but this is one from them. This is again you are learning the degrees of comparison here, one of the harshest. Okay students, so enjoy learning, because as you are learning the content part, I am trying to teach you some grammar which will be useful for you in your other sections of the question paper. Okay. Now, any other difficult words students? Okay, Anglo-Boer War. I did not explain you what is Anglo-Boer War. This was a war that was fought between 1899 and 1902. This was a war fought between the Great Britain and the two independent Boer states, South African Republic and the Orange Free State. And during this war, you know, the British won. They were victorious. And that is, after that, the whites patched up the differences and they erected the system called apartheid. Okay? I hope I have covered up the things for you in this paragraph, students. I hope you all are enjoying and finding it easy. Okay, now let's go on to the next paragraph. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifice of thousands of my people. The people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line had ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not there to see what their struggle had wrought. So Nelson Mandela remembers all the South African patriots. There was a noble line of the South African patriots who went before him, who fought before him, and they had paved the way for him of cooperation and unity. He is saying that he is a total of all of them. He is a sum of all of them. Sum means total. He remembers here the sacrifices, the struggles of all those South African patriots who have gone before him, and he was pained. He was having some pain. He was feeling bad. Why? Because he was not able to thank them. They were not there. They were not alive. And they were not there to see what their struggle had brought. Brought means achieved or brought. There's a word brought there at the end. The meaning of the word brought is brought. It is given in the right hand side of your text. Okay? So the sacrifices had brought freedom, but they were not there to enjoy this freedom. Students, you must be knowing about our own country. When the British were ruling our country, they died, they sacrificed their lives. And we today are enjoying the fruits of the freedom, but those fighters, the strugglers are not there to see the fruits of their struggle. Okay, so if you have understood this paragraph, let's move on to the next paragraph. I hope you know what is the meaning of patriots. I can tell you in Marathi, okay? Patriots mean Desh Bhakta. Those who work for the country are called patriots. Okay, let's go on to the next paragraph if you don't have any difficulty here. Okay. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was, it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisulu, the Chief Luthelis, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Sobukwe's, men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity that their like can never be known again. So what happened is, the apartheid system created a profound wound in the hearts of the black. Profound means very deep. And it will take number of years to get out from this profound hurt. The depth of oppression, the struggle had one unintended effect. You know what is unintended? We do something intentionally, right? We come to school with the intention to study and pass. But unintentionally, we gather so many other things. We learn the etiquettes. We learn how to behave like humans. So many things we learn from our teacher. So this is a simple example. Okay. Now, the struggle was to achieve freedom. That was an intended effect, right? But the unintended effect was it produced great people, the people of great heights, great characters, and they were these people. The Oliver Tambos, the Walter Cizulas and all. The men of such an extraordinary character, wisdom, courage and generosity, you know, that such people will never be found again. And you know students, that's why we are using the word article the here before the noun. You must be taught in the school that we don't use an article before the noun. We don't use any article a or the. But here we are saying the Tambos, the Walter. Why? Why do we say that? Because they were the men of extraordinary courage, wisdom, generosity, you know, and their like will never be found again. They are the only one of their kind. And that's why the word the, article the is used here. Again, a grammar point. Okay, so the article is used like how we say the earth, the sun, because they are only one. We don't have many earths, we don't have many suns. So that's why the earth, the sun, and that's why we have said the Oliver Tambos. They were the people, such character we will never find again. Okay, so any difficulty students? You have generosity. What is generosity? You are very generous. You help others, you give your full, you devote your full self to others. That is the meaning of generosity. And how have these people achieved this generosity and wisdom and courage? It is from their struggle. It is from their brutal struggle and sacrifices that they have learnt all this. Perhaps it requires depth of oppression to create such heights of character. My country is rich in minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil. But I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamond. Nelson Mandela says that his country is rich. There are lots of rich minerals and gems found in his country. But that is not his real wealth. What is his real wealth is his own people. And you know, they are finer, they are truer than the purest diamond. He is comparing them to the purest diamond. And he says that his people are better than them. This is how Nelson Mandela shows his respect to his people. So again we are learning here the grammar points like truer, finer. These are all adjectives, my dear students. These are all adjectives. And they are in a comparative degree. Finer, truer, and purest is also an adjective in a superlative degree. So learn this grammar. It will help you in your further studies. And he says depth of operation. What is the meaning of depth of operation? Depth means it was a very brutal operation. It was a very deep operation. Operation means when you're harassing someone, that is called operation. When you're humiliating someone, dominating someone, that is called operation. So from this depth of operation, such heights of characters are built up. You require that depth of operation to achieve that height of character. So this is an unintended effect. Because of the deep operation, the characters with great heights are produced. Okay. Now, I hope you have understood the paragraph. Let's go to the next paragraph. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but a triumph over it. A brave man is not who does not feel afraid, but one who conquers it. Students, there's a saying that situations make a man. Now see, for example, corona or COVID pandemic. What situation we are facing for the first time in the history of, at least me, from the time I've born, I have never seen such a pandemic or such a disease. But this pandemic situation is changing our lives. It is helping us to face life. You know, if any danger comes in the future, we will be able to face it easily. So situations make man. So Nelson Mandela learned courage from the struggle. He learned it from his comrades. Comrades means the people who are his companions in the war. He learned what is courage. He has seen the people fighting without breaking. He has seen the people fighting and not trying to give up. He says that courage is not the absence of fear, but a triumph over it. You may be having your friend saying, snake, no, I am not afraid of him. But if you kill the snake, then you are courageous. Saying I am not afraid is not a brave man. You have to conquer it. You have to achieve a triumph over it, a victory over it. Then you are courageous. That is what Nelson Mandela learned from his companions. So we learn many things from the situations. Okay? And now, I'm thinking difficulty for you here. Resilience means the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. Okay? Now, let's go on to the last paragraph of this lesson. Students, I hope you all are not bored. Last paragraph. I hope you all are enjoying. No one is born hating another person because of the color of their skin or its background or its religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes very naturally to the human heart than the opposite. Even in the grimmest times in the prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps, just for a second, and it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but can never be extinguished. It's the end of the lesson. In South Africa, the society taught the people to hate. Small children, from that time onwards, they are taught to hate. Whites are superior, blacks are inferior. Hate them. There is no need to teach love. Love comes naturally. So, he also mentions that during his time of struggle, when he was in the jail, he mentions that for a second, there was a love, there was a humanity shown by one of the securities, and that kept him going. That was a goodness that he saw in that person. So, man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never be extinguished. You know why God has sent us here? To do good to others. Always try to do good to others. And this goodness is a flame. It's a flame, flame of the candle that gives light, that makes the place bright. So man's goodness is also a flame that can be hidden, that can never, sometimes be not seen, that can burn with a low flame, but still it doesn't burn out. It doesn't get extinguished. So this is what Nelson Mandela says in his autobiography. A very beautiful sentence. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never be extinguished. I think students, I have covered up the most of the things in this part. If you have any difficulty now, what is to push to our limits? The meaning is given there. Push to the limits means suppose you are very tired. Still you are made to work. You are pushed. then it is called push to the limits. This is a phrase. Remember this, this makes your language strong. So pick up the phrases, words, and make your own dictionary. Make your vocabulary strong. So I have finished with the reading of the lesson. I hope that you all have enjoyed it. I know it's a difficult, as per my knowledge, I know it's a difficult lesson for the students to study as well as to remember and recall. So I have tried my best to reach up to you all, and now a little revision of what we have studied. We have to remember these points from the examination point of view. Apartheid, or apartheid as the South Africans pronounce it. What is it? It's a political system that segregated the people on the basis of the color of their skin. Students, if you have notebooks, jot down these points. This is the summary. In brief, you will get the idea of the lesson. So what is apartheid? It's a political system that segregated the people on the basis of the color of their skin. You have learned lots about apartheid, so I'll not talk much about it. This system divided the population into two races, the white-skinned and the dark-skinned people. And it lasted for about 46 years from 1948 to 1994. And during this period, the white-skinned people ruled the country and the blacks were their slaves, like how we were the slaves of the British long ago. Now, the grammar part, if we come to grammar part, this is the vocabulary that I found that you should note down. These are the new words that have appeared in the lesson. Add it to your vocabulary, make your vocabulary strong, and the meanings. You know, sometimes one word is used in two different ways. Like for example, the word dawn. Dawn is a noun as well as a verb. I got up today before the dawn. Here, the word dawn is a noun. And your lesson begins, the day dawned bright and clear. Here the word dawn is a verb. So you must know how to use the words in the sentence, very important in a language. So these are the words. If possible, jot them down fast, or you can get them, underline them in your textbooks. When I'll be covering the second part of the lesson, I'll be just dealing with these words again. Okay? Now, let's go to the next part. These are the important points that you have to remember in the lesson. That is Nelson Mandela's oath. Obey and uphold the constitution and devote himself to the well-being of the republic. Then his ideals, his promise to the nation, that is to liberate the people from continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, discrimination, and sufferings. He also mentions courage, which is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Then man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but can never be extinguished. Then we have learnt about the first decade. How was the government? It was the most inhuman and the harshest society. And the last decade was replaced. The government replaced the system with a democratic and non-racial government. Okay? So thank you, students. Some more revision part. Due to time constraint, I will cover up in the next part of this lesson. So soon you will be with me with the next part of this lesson, and in that part we will be learning about the twin obligations and how this hunger for freedom changed Nelson Mandela's life. So students, before you come for the next session, I want you all to read the textbooks so that you can understand better and enjoy the lesson. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Thank you.